Good evening, and a very warm welcome to every single one of you. Thank you so much for being here. This is Divya Tampi, your smart productivity coach. And today we have come with a very interesting topic, which is the four mistakes that leave you with low energy and what you can do about it. Okay, so everybody wants to be productive, everybody wants to be performing at peak levels every single day because every single one of us is capable of a lot, is capable of far more than we assume. We have very high levels of potential, but how do we really tap into that potential? It is through leveraging our own personal productivity. Okay, so the four mistakes that I'm going to talk about are the ones that prevent you from living your best life. Okay, so just waiting in and seeing. So if there's anybody here who is watching this live, please type hashtag live in the chat box. Okay. And yes, and for those of you who may be watching a little later, you may type hashtag replay. Okay, so we are live on YouTube as well as Facebook group, the Productivity and Performance group, as well as on my profile. Okay, so a big hello to every single one of you. And let me also make sure that I'm able to see any comments that come up. Superb. There we go. Okay, great. Superb. So, yes, I think I'm able to see now. Yes, I'm going to actually jump right into the topic about what are the four mistakes that people make when it comes to productivity. Now, one of the first things that I want to say is really productivity is not about time management. That's, I think, a myth that a lot of people have that if I manage my time well, then I'll be productive. But no, it's really not about time management. You can't manage time. There are only 24 hours in the day. And whether, you are a billionaire, whether you're a pauper, whether you are a kid, everybody has only 24 hours. So you can't really manage time, right? But what you can do is you can manage your energy during that period of time, and you can manage your priorities during that period of time, such that you keep consistently moving forward towards the goals that you have set for yourself. Okay. So on that note, go ahead, type hashtag live if you're there. And so let me jump right into this. Okay, one of the first mistakes that a lot of people make, especially working women, when it comes to productivity, is not taking any breaks. Okay, what generally tends to happen with most people is that when there is a lot of work, we tend to just push ourselves again and again and not take any breaks. And the whole idea being that if I just work for longer, I'll get a lot more done. But as intuitive as it feels, the reality is just the opposite. The more you push yourself and the less breaks you take, the less effective and efficient you're going to be. So let me share a little bit of a science behind this. Okay, we human beings are oscillatory beings. In fact, the whole of nature works in a rhythm. All of you would agree that there is a rhythm to nature, right? Like there is day, then there is night. There are seasons, like there's summers, there is winters, or there are so many different things. Everything, for that matter, look at our body. Everything in our body has a rhythm. The heart has a rhythm. Our breathing has a rhythm. We breathe in, we breathe out. The heart beats up and it, stops. So there is a rhythm to everything. So even our living has a rhythm, and many of you may have heard of the term circadian rhythm. So circa means, circling around a day. And the circadian rhythm is basically the rhythm that we have around a span of 24 hours of time. Okay, and if you notice, the way it works is we are more active and alive during the daytime, and we are less active and more tired as the day progresses towards the night. So there is a certain rhythm. There is an ebb and flow to the energy that we have throughout the day. Now, in fact, it doesn't just apply to day and night, it also applies to periods of time within that long 24 hours. For example, if you think about sleep, right? We don't, when we lie down on bed, we don't just go straight into a very deep sleep. We don't. Okay. First, we go into a lighter mode of sleep. That is the period of time when you see a lot of dreams and, there are these thoughts which feel like dreams. That is the light sleep that you go into. After that, you go into a deeper mode of sleep. And from there, you go into the deepest mode of sleep. And all of this happens over a period of around 90 minutes to 120 minutes. Okay, this is part of the circadian rhythm, right? And similarly, And this is not only limited to the night time. So this also applies to the daytime, and there is a name for it. It is called the ultradian rhythm. So what is the ultradian rhythm? It is the fact that our energies, there is an ebb and flow to our energy throughout the day. So our energy starts to peak at the beginning of every 90 minutes to 120 minutes, and then it after the first 1 hour the energy starts to drop. Now, what that means is that if we are able to identify that, and take breaks every time our energy drops in that 90 to 120 minute span, when we take break, we are giving the body and the mind the much needed break, which allows it to renew the energy that we require to go back and do focused work. Now, like I said before, the mistake that most people make is that they feel that, okay, even if I am tired, even if I'm not feeling all that great, let me just continue to work and finish as much as I can. But what is going to happen is, after those 90 minutes to 120 minutes, when you don't take a break, your ability to concentrate, your ability to think, the ability to make decisions all starts to drop. And it only starts to go lower and lower and lower. And it comes to a point where it may physically seem like you're working, but mentally, you keep coming back, trying to focus, and you just keep losing your focus, right? So taking breaks, so if you look at some of the top CEOs, some of the peak performers in the world, whether it is in the area of work and business, or in the area of sports or artists for that matter, they're very good at managing their energy by managing their work time and their break time, right? So make sure so if you have been making this mistake, make sure that you balance out work and break. So the break need not actually be very long. So it's not like you work for 90 minutes and then you go off for a break for 30 minutes. Okay, there is, in fact, some of you may have heard of the Pomodoro technique. I'll not go into the details of that, but even if, like, after about 90 minutes you take 10-15 minutes of break, 10 minutes of break. Okay, imagine you're sitting continuously for 6 hours, okay, where first 1.5 hours you're able to focus well, but after that you're finding it very difficult to focus. What's going to happen is, after the first 1.5 hours you're going to be very distracted. So the amount of work that you will get done is probably 1/5 of what you get done in the first 1 hour. But if you were to take a break after the first 1.5 hours or first 2 hours, like take a good 10-15 minute break, refresh yourself, maybe sip something, to have a glass of water, step out, breathe some fresh air, and now you start to feel relaxed, and then when you come back, your energy starts to peak again. Okay, so this is a great way of making sure that your productivity and your energy stays at a higher level. Okay, so once again, I just want to mention that I've been coming live since the last 2 days, and I do plan to come live again tomorrow. Okay, I plan to be live tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the evening. So join me. Sorry, not 7 o'clock in the evening tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be a little late, so I will be here by about 9:30. So be here. I will be putting up a post on Facebook. So make sure that you are going to be joining tomorrow as well. Okay. And if you are interested in the content that I am sharing with you, whether it is about productivity, whether it's about how to achieve your goals by playing your highest level game, just join my group, which is the productivity and performance mastermind. Okay, so I will be sharing the link for that group in a bit, so you can join that group so that you can stay and be part of every session that I do, right? uh, Okay, so now that we have looked at the first mistake that people make, which is not taking enough breaks and what to do about it, let's move on to the second one. The second mistake that people make is not having any physical exercise. I've said this many times, that imagine that you have a very high-end sports car. Okay, it looks sleek, it looks beautiful, it can really, the engine can be powered up to a very high level, and you can drive the car at a very high speed, much more than any normal car would go, right? And imagine that you keep that car in the garage for 1 year. You don't take it out, you never take it out for a spin. What is going to happen to the car? Is it going to function exactly the same even a year later? In fact, one of the best ways of destroying anything is to not use it, right? And that applies to our body as well. Our physical body has been designed for activity, and the saying that use it or lose it is equally true for our body. So all of us have been naturally blessed with certain amount of muscle and ability and all of that. But if we do not exercise those muscles, the muscles start to deteriorate. Okay, and this is applicable not just so. And the thing is, the body and the mind are very closely connected. Okay, most people assume that, as long as I'm using my brain continuously, I'm doing well, but that's not true. If you're physical, in fact, the easiest way to change the way you're feeling at any given point of time is to bring about physical activity. So you can change your state of mind by changing the state of your body. So if you are starting to feel tired, if you're starting to slump, if you're finding it difficult to focus, get up, do a few jumping jacks, get up, go for a little walk, get up, do a few push-ups, or even do something simple as climbing up and down the stairs, and immediately you will get a boost of energy. Okay, but that's not the only thing that I'm talking about. What I want to share here is that this body that we have been given, just like everything else in this world, there is a certain amount of maintenance that needs to be done for this body. If it is serving you for 24 hours a day, it is our duty to serve the body and take care of it for 1 hour a day. And if you can't do 1 hour, at least do half an hour a day, right? So a few things. So I want to share with you some research studies as far as physical fitness is concerned, and how it impacts your mental fitness and your ability to perform at your work, whatever job you may be doing, right? So one of the studies found at DuPont, it was found that there was a 47.5% reduction in absenteeism after a corporate fitness program for 6 years. So a 6-year corporate fitness program, and there was a 47.5% reduction in absenteeism of the people, which was a result of their physical fitness. Another one, another study found that fit workers in a company commit 27% fewer mistakes in comparison, which involves concentration and short-term memory, in comparison to people who do not have any physical fitness activities as part of their daily routine. Okay, another very important one. There was another study conducted on 80 executives. These executives were studied over a period of 9 months. So they started working out at the beginning of the 9 months. So they worked out for continuously for 9 months, and so they worked out regularly, and it was found that their fitness levels went up by 22%. But the most important part is that there was a 70% improvement in their ability to take complex decisions. That, I'm sure you would agree, is a very, very, very important point. That, if physical fitness can actually help you to think better, to make better decisions, eventually the kind of consequences that we see in our life are they are the result of all the decisions that we take. And the higher up the rungs that you move, for example, you may be a coach, a trainer, you may be running a business of your own, you may be a solopreneur, you may be running a large company with a lot of employees, or you may be an employee in an organization with a team of people that you are handling and managing. You have to take so many decisions throughout the day. Okay, and the lesser physical fitness you have, the lesser your ability to take better and more complex decisions. Okay, so another thing, I remember reading an article where the author said that when we sit down for longer periods of time, the body starts getting ready to die. Okay, so even if you are somebody who works out on a regular basis, remember that it's not good enough that you work out for half an hour or 1 hour a day. It's good if you do, that's fantastic. Okay, but also make sure that every few hours, like every 1 hour or 1.5 hours, for example, we spoke about the 90 minutes earlier, right? Whenever you're taking that break, do a little bit of a physical activity. Don't just sit there and take a break. Okay, it helps you to change your state of mind when you're getting up and going, but also do some physical movement, and that brings in a lot of energy as well. Okay, if you are liking this, if you're getting value out of this, type value in the chat box. Okay, and if you're watching a replay of this, type hashtag replay in the chat box. If you're watching this live, type hashtag live in the chat box. Okay, and once again, I'm going to be coming live for the next 5-6 days again. Okay, so do join in every evening. Tomorrow we will be live. I haven't actually made up my mind, but I'm looking at about 7 o'clock in the evening. So join me. I will be putting up a post in Facebook and all my social media to update you about the time. So join in. Okay. Okay. So we spoke about two things. One was not taking breaks, and one was not exercising. Now the third mistake that people make is when it comes to sleep. Okay, we already know that you may have heard about this research study which says that if you have slept for less number of hours, your mental capabilities are equivalent to somebody who's had a few drinks. Okay, that is how much lack of sleep can impact our mental capability. But not just that. Uh, uh, one of the things that I want to share with personally, this was a really bulb on moment for me when I learned about sleep was it's not just about the number of hours of sleep. So on an average, they say that 7 to 8 hours of sleep is good. And I've seen people who need lesser hours of sleep and have high levels of energy throughout the day despite the lesser hours of sleep. So personally, I think it is not so much the number of hours of sleep, but it is two things. One is what time of the night you go to sleep. That is quite important because, like I said, we are rhythmic beings, we are oscillating beings, and our body has been designed in a certain way. So the most renewing or energizing sleep that we get is somewhere between 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock, 11 o'clock to 2 3 o'clock, that period of time. So it's very important that you go to bed before 11 o'clock, around 11 o'clock. Do not delay it any further than that. Let me ask you a question. How many of you have experienced that you go to sleep at 10 o'clock and you wake up early? Maybe you wake up at 4:35 o'clock and you feel very fresh. And another time you sleep at 1 o'clock and you wake up at 7 o'clock, which means you still slept 7 hours and yet you feel tired. Okay. This is a result of sleeping late. So if you sleep very late, okay, even if you sleep more number of hours, you're not going to feel refreshed and well rested in comparison to when you go to bed early. Okay, so capture that, that time period between 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock as much as you can. If not 10 o'clock, at least 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock, because that is crucial to the renewal of your body and your energy. Okay. The other thing is, again, this whole 90 minutes and 120 minutes that I spoke about is applicable for sleep as well. So we sleep in cycles of 90 to 120 minutes. So you may have noticed that some days, even if you have slept for many hours, when you suddenly wake up, somebody wakes you up suddenly, you feel very drowsy and it's very hard for you to wake up. On other days, even if you slept lesser number of hours, you wake up on your own and you feel quite refreshed. And the reason that's happening is because when you wake up at the drop off point of the 90 minutes or the 120 minutes, when your body has gone through the deep sleep cycle and is coming into a waking cycle, and if you wake up at that time, okay, you will wake up fresh. If you wake up, if you're woken up in the middle of your deep sleep or the cycle of deep sleep, you will wake up feeling drowsy. Okay, so kind of back calculate 90-minute cycle. So if you do 6 hours also, or 6 hours or 7.5 hours, if you get into the habit of sleeping at a certain time, at the same time every day, and then you can watch yourself, when do you tend to wake up in the morning. So try and sleep early at night, and the morning when you wake up naturally, just get up. Like, don't say that, oh, it's not yet time, let me sleep for another half an hour. Don't do that, because when you sleep for half an hour and then wake up with an alarm clock, you feel more drowsy when you wake up. Okay, and if you keep waking up at a natural point of time, let's say 5:30, automatically, then your body will get used to that and it'll happen very easily for you. Okay, so that is the third mistake that people make: sleeping late or not sleeping enough. Okay, so you can, I also already spoke to you about what you can do to avoid that mistake and what to do instead. Okay, fantastic. And I want to say here that I particularly want to bring to light these things for working women, because women's bodies also require a little more balance, a little more. There's a lot more that goes on in a woman's body, because of the whole reproductive cycle. So it's very important that you take care of yourself, right? So all of these things are very much applicable to every single working woman, and if you were to make these tweaks and changes in your daily life, you will see a huge shift in the energy levels that you experience on a day-to-day basis. Okay, the next one is food. Okay, now food is super important, especially in the first half of the day. Now, I mean, there are two sides to it, but one of the things that a lot of people tend to do is that they skip their breakfast because of lack of time, and because they have skipped their breakfast. Now, your body's metabolism is at its peak during the first part of the day, right? Which means that if you eat good amount of food during the first part of the day, the body will quickly metabolize all that food and use it as energy. However, what a lot of people tend to do is there's no time in the morning, so they don't eat. But then because there's no energy, the energy starts to drop. Then they try to make up for it by eating cookies, having coffee, and the more you do this, the more toxins are getting into your body, because we are using external ways like coffee to keep our energy levels up, and it starts to build into the body. Okay, so, and also it is because it is artificially done with coffee, energy levels have been brought up, it will also crash later badly, right? So make sure that you have something for breakfast, whatever your time of breakfast is, have something for breakfast. Decide beforehand something which is easy to make. Maybe it's a protein shake, if that works for you. Personally, I have something called sattu, which is the black gram or the black chana, which is there. It is roasted and it is powdered. That's a very good source of protein. So I have like a mix of that sattu in the morning that gives me like good amount of energy. So I keep my breakfast generally reasonably heavy. Like I have a couple of dosas, sattu first, couple of dosas later. So that's breakfast. Okay, and keep your dinner light, because as the day progresses and you go towards the evening is when your body's capability to digest the food and metabolize reduces. Okay, and if you were to eat a lot of food, and this happens in a lot of Indian families for sure, where dinner happens very late, and then dinner has, because you haven't had the time to enjoy your food, you end up having a lot of heavy food like fried items and sweets and other things at night, which is generally a very bad idea. And also what happens is, if you have deprived your body of food unintentionally, like, I mean, if you are on an intermittent fast where you are consciously and deliberately not having breakfast, that's a different matter. But if you are depriving yourself of food where you are feeling hungry but not giving yourself food, then it is going to be very difficult for you to control your hunger pangs and the temptation to have unhealthy food. Okay, so it's not your fault when later you feel like eating anything that comes your way, right? And not feeding your body when it craves, not feeding your body to provide it the energy, can also have long term effects. So here are a couple of things that you want to do is always plan for breakfast beforehand. Keep it something simple which is easy to do and have on a daily basis, and not something which is very complicated and requires a lot of preparation. You can do that during the weekends if you want to. And the second thing is keep some snacks handy, because there are certain times of the day, like personally, for me, it used to be that in the evenings around 4:30, 5 o'clock, suddenly I'd be very hungry, and I would not have planned for any snacks. Sometimes I would have something, sometimes I wouldn't have anything stocked as such. I would not have anything healthy stocked for snacks, and I would end up ordering something unhealthy. I'd end up eating something very unhealthy. Okay, and that would lead to some amount of crash in my energy at a later point of time, like a sudden infusion of sugar into my body, and then like a later crash, right? So just do this two things: take care of your breakfast. Yep, if you need to plan for it, if you need to prepare something, keep something prepared the previous night, do that because you deserve it. And the second is keep some snacks handy, whether it's nuts, whether it is boiled grams, or there are so many options, poha and so many other things. Just look at what are some healthy, even a fruit will actually help, healthy snack options. Okay, and keep some 10 options listed down, so that whenever you're not sure what you can have, you can keep those things stocked at home in your snack box or whatever it is. Okay, so these are the four mistakes that a lot of people make, and these are some of the things that I already shared with you that you can do to bring a huge turnaround in your energy levels. Okay, and the moment you are able to manage your energy, your productivity shoots through the roof. Okay, so if you've been enjoying this, give me a thumbs up in the chat box. I see a few of you who are watching this, and do come and say a hello. And let me just see if I can see anybody. Okay, great. I don't see any comments. I just see a share. Okay, it's been an absolute pleasure being here with all of you. And thank you so much for being here, for watching it live or watching a replay of this. Yeah, and I'll see you again tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the evening. Okay, so till then, have a great day, great evening, actually. Okay, see you soon.